All right, so as I was saying, last week we were able to rake in a total of about 2017 pips from our analysis. All right, and we're still experiencing the market play out regarding some of the other things that we looked at. All right, tonight we're not going to be waiting for anybody. All right, we're just going to dig right into what we expect from the financial markets, and then from there we move. So currently, as you can see, we're starting with AXY, which is the index, all right, for the Australian dollar, AXY. All right, that's the index for the Australian dollar. So our analysis, our bias is still quite solid. I'm still waiting to see price, drop into this zone, which means that we might continue to see weakness on the Australian dollar. All right, we should still continue to see some degree or some level of weakness in AXY or the Australian dollar as price continues. All right, these factors are things that we're going to be correlating. All right, these are things that we're going to be correlating when we start to look at actual currency pairs. All right, but in the meantime, we're going to work with this the way we have it. All right, so AXY, the direction is bearish, all right, for at least one more day. All right, let's look at BXY, which is the pound index. All right, for the pound index, we can see that it gave us some bullish reaction, but came back to the point of entry we're looking at from the weekly time frame. All right, which means that zone has most likely been invalidated, and we may continue to see, or we may see continued weakness of the British pound. All right. Next, we'll look at CXY, which is Canadian dollar index. All right. So yeah, as you can see, we talked about it getting weaker from this point. We've seen that that played out massively well throughout last week. All right. We talked about the fact that it was supposed to go higher. It went up a bit. Right, but we saw that it came back right down. All right, so right about now, I think this will be my target area, or the point where I will be looking at or considering for for a reaction. Peradventure, if price breaks or continues to go lower. All right, if price continues to go lower, somewhere around this region would be my preferred or my preferred entry. All right, but in the meantime, we can still work with what we have, all right, and expect price to maybe bounce higher from possibly this gap here, all right, or the other one that we have seen right down there. Okay, so either this first point, all right, or price drops a lot lower and then bounces higher. So CXY is a bit possibly sell to buy kind of scenario. All right, it should drop, all right, to one of these points of interest, all right, before we most likely see that bullish move. All right, even though the overall we're looking at is still quite bullish for the Canadian dollar. All right, next one we look at is the DXY, which is the dollar index. Gave us some sweet movement last week. All right, it was some kind of bittersweet situation or scenario, but not altogether. I think it was a good week. All right, currently we're looking at this zone. All right, price has given us this break of structure here. We have not confirmed it yet until possibly we see this clearly. All right, if we see this clearly, then we can talk about the dollar being completely weaker. All right, but having considered what is going on currently in the crypto market, in the crypto space, all right, if the BTC, ETH, and most of these other crypto commodities, if they continue to dip or go lower, it means that there's strong likelihood that the dollar becomes stronger. All right, and I'm going to explain what I mean by that. Let me quickly shift this aside to explain how that works. So this is crypto. this is the fiat market, this is the stock market, all right? Or let me say the forex market. Now, it's important to know that, for example, there's a number, all right? I don't want to say fixed number, but there's a number of investors, all right, whose funds and resources goes into this market, all right? So majorly, they are looking for the markets that can give them the highest return per time, all right? So whenever crypto is performing poorly, all right, they tend to withdraw their money and push into any other market, sometimes stock, all right? But whenever they push their funds, all right, whenever they push it into stocks, all right, it means that the fiat market is not in touch with that money, all right? The fiat market is, that money is not available in the fiat market, in the forex market, all right? And that's why you see that whenever US stocks are performing well, all right, the dollar usually goes down, all right? The dollar becomes weaker in the forex market when US stocks are performing better, all right? And on the contrary, if they move their funds from crypto into, say, the forex market, or they use it to buy some real commodities to import, all right, or they spend it on maybe retail purchases, manufacturing costs, and things like that, all right, then it comes into the fiat market, strengthens the dollar, all right, strengthens the dollar, such that the US stock indices, NASDAQ, US 50, US 30, and the likes, they start to get weaker or go down, all right. USD as a currency gets stronger, all right, and crypto market goes weaker, all right. So this is how the flow of money works, all right, in the financial market. This is how the flow of money works. So whenever the fiat, the forex market is also not favorable, or it becomes too volatile, some of those big investors will move their funds into stock, all right, or diversify into safe haven cryptocurrencies, all right, safe haven cryptocurrencies. Do we get this, guys? All right, so I believe that we understand that. So let's quickly go back to our analysis. This is really not a training session, but I just felt the need to, clarify that so that everybody can work with it. All right, so we're if the crypto markets continue going lower, all right, if they continue to dip, or it means that we might just see, or we just might see the dollar break far above this level, all right, break above this level, and maybe retest to keep going higher, all right. But if we are able to see, if we see a pump in the crypto market in the next couple of days, all right, maybe 2 days, all right, if we see like maybe 2 days, in 2 days or 1 day time, all right, if we see some solid pump in the crypto markets, then we can expect that the dollar should get smaller, all right. So let's see how that plays out this week. But altogether, I think I'm still holding my bias, all right. I'm still holding my bias for a possible continuation in dollar weakness, all right. It's a fair chance. I'll say 60% chance, all right. But let's see how this works out. Okay, the next one we'll look at is EXY, which is the euro index, or the index for the euro. All right, we talked about the fact that the euro was going to drop last week. All right, I just didn't foresee it coming this low. All right, but now that it has come this low, all right, we've seen it try to spike higher. We've seen it try to spike higher and then still close bearish. All right, and this is what we still have on the daily. So I am tempted to expect the euro to still get weaker. All right, I am really I'm having that feeling that we might see the euro continue to get weaker. All right, but we're still going to confirm all of this on the charts. All right, just to be certain that we didn't omit anything or we didn't miss out on anything. Okay, so that's EXY. The next one is the JPY basket. All right, so let's look at the JPY basket, which is by all means one of my favorites. I will say that the JPY basket, just like we said, has dropped to our POI. All right, has dropped to our POI. And what that means is we can start expecting some bullish movement from the JPY basket. All right, we can start expecting strength for the Japanese yen. All right, maybe from this week. All right, perhaps most likely Tuesday. All right, but let's see how this plays out. Right about now, what we're going to do next, all right, at this point in time is to go into the currency pairs, all right. So if you have a currency pair that you would like me to analyze, all right, for you, or to give you a directional bias, because during the course of the week, we're still going to be dropping signals that you can trade, all right. But if you want me to just take a look at a commodity or a currency pair for you right now, kindly type it in the chat group, all right, and I'll get into it right away. So as usual, we're going to be starting with the majors, all right, Euro USD, GBP USD, and the likes. So let's do that. All right, so as you can see, Euro USD, all right, let's dig into it. Let's see what we're looking at. All right, imbalance, possible liquidity grab, all right. All right, so I'm sure that most of you guys understand what we're looking at here. All right, so Euro USD, this would be my bias for Euro USD. We're looking for possible buy entries. All right, we could maybe add this just to make things a little more interesting. All right. Yeah, so Euro USD, we could begin to see a reaction from here. I'm aware that some of us would consider this an order block, all right? But I think I want to see something more solid, all right? And the fact that the market closed like that last week, all right, means that we can expect to have a fake out first, all right, to take out liquidity and then a bounce higher, all right, to the top. So that is also something to expect. All right, that's also something to expect because it's one of the most logical things that that euro can do right now if the dollar is still going to continue getting weaker. All right, so we're looking for an entry around 0.99302. All right, please mute your mic, please. Thank you. So 0.99302, all right, is an area we're looking at for our entry on Euro USD for a buy. All right, let's quickly go to what's the next one there? GBP USD. All right, so as you can see, GBP USD came back to this resistance line that I drew based on this order block. All right, has reacted and gone down, all the way down. All right, on the 1 hour time frame, I think I'm seeing this. All right, liquidity. All right. All right. So GBP USD, that's something that I am looking for or that I'm expecting. Right. It may or may not play out, but that is my own. That's my own bias, all right, at least until the market proves otherwise, okay? This is my own bias until the market proves otherwise. So for GBP USD, remember I said that we are expecting the dollar to get weaker unless, all right, unless investors decide to pull out their funds and their resources from some other markets, all right, to capitalize them in the fiat or the forex market, all right. So GBP USD, we may be expected a bullish reaction, or let me quickly check if we can correlate this with Euro GBP. Let me see, Euro GBP. All right, which means that there's a likelihood that the euro is weaker than the pound. Let me quickly confirm this. I want to be certain. Let me see. All right, if we get something like this, it would mean that GBP is stronger than euro. All right, and that would explain why GBP USD is closer to the POI. All right, it's already close to the POI, whereas Euro USD still has some movements to make before it steps into our POI completely. All right, that would explain it. So let's see how that plays out. I, for one, I do not trade Euro GBP because it's too unstable for me. All right, the correlations are not so pure, so I prefer to just work with the majors: Euro USD, GBP USD. All right, somebody has requested USD JPY. USD JPY is still around the zone of our POI, but let me quickly remove all these too many lines, all right, so that you guys don't get confused. Let me treat them one by one. All right, so this is USD JPY. If we're still talking about the dollar getting weaker, all right, that would mean that this is a good zone to experience such. All right, why? Break of structure, equal highs. All right, we have this on-field imbalance here. All right, we have this this area that can work well as a liquidity grab as well. All right, here, all these are imbalance candles that have not yet been filled. So I think we have reason to want to go lower. All right, trendline liquidity as well. Okay, huge imbalance. All right. So let's see. Let me quickly clarify this. Okay. So for USD JPY, we should be able to see something like this. All right. That's my more logical or more reasonable expectation. Okay. That's my more reasonable expectation. However, if price breaks above this zone, all right, if it breaks above this zone, then I'm not sure there will be anything holding us back. Maybe this could possibly work. All right, but I very much I'm not as confident about that, all right, as I am about this one all the way here. And the reason is because this one fits perfectly into this system, all right? So, which is our QML pattern, all right? So, let's see how this works out, okay? USDJPY, we're still kind of expecting it to continue downwards, all right? So, let's see how that plays out this week. Okay, this huge arrow, this huge line you're seeing is from the weekly time frame, and there's still a possibility that it actually plays out like this, all right? But let's see how it goes. We already treated GBPUSD, for example, we talked about GBPUSD already. USDJPY taken care of. Let's go to EURUSD. All right, so for those of you who are currently watching this on YouTube or whatever platform you're watching this on, all right, you can simply join us in the next session, next week, Sunday, 9 p.m. West African time, by clicking the link in the description, all right? You can always join us. You're always welcome, all right, so that we can review your own commodities as well and address it live. EURUSD gave us some amazing movements. This was about... from our preferred entry, this was about over 200 pips, all right? And then it bounced and then gave us break of structure retest and another push. I'm not sure many people caught it, but I think based on the kind of rejection I've seen from this zone, all right, trend line liquidity, equalize kind of liquidity, same thing around here, all right, same thing around here. So there's a serious possibility that price continues lower, all right, but I wouldn't be rushing into this because even if I'm going to continue selling, I want to see what price does when it gets to this trend line on the lower time frame, all right? So this for me would make a lot more sense, all right, based on the fact that there's still this huge imbalance candle waiting down here, all right? So I believe price has reason to want to go that far. So we break structure here, we break the trend line, we come back into this huge week, all right? We can refine that on the lower time frame for a specific entry, all right? Maybe let me see if that works. Okay, good. This looks like the area on the 1 hour time frame. Okay, let me see. If we want to refine it smaller on the 15 minutes, maybe we want to work with something within this range. Yeah, something within that range. All right. So that's basically one of the main things I'll be looking out for. All right. Either that price reacts from somewhere around here. All right. Or it decides to go all the way back to this zone before dropping lower. So that's EURUSD. I'm sure that the signals provider will give us, the person in charge of signals, all right, would notify us once there's any update on these setups, all right, whether it's invalidated or price has given us confirmations for entry. All right, so AUDCAD, all right, Pope has requested that we look at AUDCAD. AUDCAD reacted, just a tiny bit at the zone we were expecting it to react from before it came all the way to this other block here, all right, to react at this other block here, which is not a bad one, all right, because now we have something solid to work with. All right, price has broken structure there. There's also another block here, all right. So we can say that this is what we're practically looking for. All right, maybe something along this line. And the reason is because we've seen, oh yeah, let me use this. All right, we've seen all of this, all right, and that would just make sense to have. Okay, and eventually if I put this up, all right, then we see that market has a potential of possibly coming this low, all right, possibly coming this low before it even goes back into this zone to tap into this other block and then drop lower for us, all right. So AUDCAD, this will be the my own logical breakdown of this trend, all right, my own logical breakdown of this trend. Price reacts from that other block, all right, and then we can everybody can rest for the time being. Yeah, let me see it on the 4 hours time frame. Okay, good. Like what we talked about, for those that are in the smart money bootcamp, all right, you realize that this is the exact same kind of structures and setups that we've been looking for, that we hunt for, right? Because they are much safer. They give a very high possibility or a higher percentage of assurance or guarantee when it comes to trading these setups. Okay, so let's take that off. Let's take this off. So this is AUDCAD on the 4 hours time frame, and we're expecting it to give us a retest and then our eventual drop even lower. All right. So the next one, gold. All right, let's take a look at gold. Gold is interesting at the moment. So in order not to confuse you guys too much, let me just take off all of this. Okay. So this is gold right now. This is an interesting point of interest. That could also very much be it. All right, let me switch this back. So we could see price come or dip lower into this zone. Let's see, let me confirm this. All right, so yeah, let's see. If the dollar is expected to get weaker, then it means we're expecting strength on gold. Right, we're expecting gold to get stronger. All right, we're saying equal lows. This is the trend line. There's another trend line. Yeah. Another area of equal lows, liquidity grab. So that means that we have reason to kind of believe that this is going to be some, this is going to lead to something bullish. All right, based on the fact that we've also seen something like this. All right, which is what I call a QML pattern. All right, which is basically a QML pattern. We've also seen that form. All right, so gold, we're expecting some bullish pump. All right, let me see 4 hours time frame. Yeah, so if this area does not give us lower time frame entry confirmations, like we need to see. All right, if it doesn't give us lower time frame entry confirmations, then we can just wait to see them on wait to see price approach, this other point of entry or point of interest, all right, somewhere around here, and then we can move. So 1720 is somewhere within the zone we're looking at, all right. Anything 1723, 1724, 1720, all right, anything within that range is what we're looking at the moment, all right. So 1723 to 1718, all right. Somewhere within that space is where we're looking for our bullish entries on gold if this other block fails to hold, all right. All right, do you guys understand now? So that's what we'll be expecting. Updates will be dropped as soon as there are signals available in that regard. Okay, so the next one, CAD CHF. CAD CHF is an interesting one. Let me remove this. Yeah, so CAD CHF. Okay, so CAD CHF, we have quite a few options. This has been the breakout. We've seen the solid liquidity grab, equal lows here. All right, equal lows once again. All right, this happens to be the other block before the breakout. All right, so worst case scenario, price comes back to retest into this zone. All right, which is why on the lower time frame I have always advocated for and always talked about the fact that lower time frame entry confirmations are absolutely necessary. All right, it keeps you safer, it gives you a better point of entry, all right, and better risk to reward ratio. Okay, so what you want to do, CAD CHF, if you're interested in getting in on this trade, is to go to say 5-15 minutes and then find out your preferred entry. All right, using any of the entry schematics that we have discussed so far. Okay, using any of the entry schematics we've discussed so far. If you check, you see that CAD CHF, or we've had projections on CAD CHF that have, in fact, this is one of the commodities that I've had the most successes with. All right, I'm talking about this particular trade here from June. Yeah, that was a 1:20. All right, so this is one of the commodities that I can talk about with a high degree of confidence. All right, so CAD CHF, these two zones, we're watching out for entries, all right, and want to be able to catch in on this trade from the lower time frames, all right. Let me quickly confirm with this. Oh, exactly. So I think that's pretty much answers the question. Yeah. So the next one, US100. So we had a buy, we gave a buy signal on US100, or was it a buy or a sell? Okay, I think it was US30 we looked at last week. All right, it was US30 that we looked at last week. US100 actually also reacted quite nicely based on our bias last week for a buy. All right, however, you see that price got to that zone and then started dropping. So what is next for US100 at the moment? All right, I think we'll go to 4 hours. All right, so what we're looking for is the most probable point of entry would be somewhere around here. All right, somewhere around here. But you can see that there's also a possibility that price reacts from here. All right. However, I would expect that even if price would close somewhere around here, all right, there should be some kind of manipulation into this major order block before we see that push back up. All right. Because if dollar is getting weaker, then we can expect, like I mentioned at the beginning when I talked about the correlations. All right. So we can expect that US100 and other stock indices become stronger when the dollar is weak, all right, and vice versa. Okay, so yeah, we have this trend line right here. All right, so I think that pretty much answers the question about US100. We're expecting a bullish movement. All right, we're saying the overall break of structure here. All right, we're saying trend line liquidity, we're saying equal lows liquidity. All right, which means right now we can't be able to, we can rest assured that this other block is not a fluke. All right, and it has potential of giving us a strong reaction. Okay, so the next one we'll look at is, according to you guys' request, US oil. So US oil, as discussed last week, all right, it reacted from a bit different other point of interest or other block, all right. It gave tiny reactions from these zones, all right, but the main reaction happened from this other block down here, all right, which was not a bad one. However, let me show you what we are expecting for this coming week. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the candlesticks. Oh, you can see that we've already gotten a reaction from here. So let's see what would be the next possible zone. Okay, so candlesticks. All right, so it means somewhere around here. We're expecting the dollar to get weaker, all right? So that means that US oil should be stronger. However, US oil is not negatively correlated. It's not directly negatively correlated to the dollar, all right? US oil is an index that talks about the index of oil prices, all right, per barrel. Now, the interesting thing about this is it is not just the dollar that it depends on. It depends on the dollar and the Canadian dollar as well. All right, because I think Canada is a major supplier of crude oil, all right, or oil, all right. So it's a balance between what the US dollar and the Canadian dollar is looking like when we talk about oil prices, all right. So it's possible that we see it, the dollar gains strength, but we can also look and see, the dollar gets weaker, but we can still see US oil dropping, all right, based on the Canadian dollar's correlations, all right. If the Canadian dollar becomes stronger, then US oil will drop, all right. And if US oil is stronger, Canadian dollar will most likely not be doing well. So let me quickly show you guys that. Let's see what CXY has looked like in the past 2 days. All right, let's look at it on the daily time frame. You can see in the past 2 days, it has been dropping. All right, so if you come back to US oil, you see that US oil for the past 2 days as well has been what? Dropping. All right. We've had 2 daily bearish closes. All right. So this is more correlated to the Canadian dollar blending with the actual DXY or the American dollar, and it compares the oil prices in that regard. All right. So that's US oil. So we can basically, if we don't see price test into this other block, all right, we can just basically have a reversal or a continuation of that bearish trend from somewhere around here. Let me show you on the 1 hour time frame so that it's clearer. Break of structure, humongous candle, all right, other block. So we can basically take this as a liquidity grab. So in the scenario that price does something like this, so that's the expectation on US oil, all right. We should probably still be going a bit lower. All right, the next commodity has requested Aud USD. Aud USD. All right, King FK, you didn't attend the previous session. We talked about synthetic indices already in the previous session. The question and answer session on the Smart Money group chat. All right, would have made a lot of sense if you had joined and made that request. All right. Let's see. I can't promise that I will look into V75 right here, but let's see. All right, so we have liquidity grab. We have this big breakout. All right, this major breakout. Let me do it on the fast time frame so you see. All right, we have this major breakout on the fast time frame. Other block here. All right. AUD USD is already at that other block, and that means that we may be seeing some interesting movements this week. All right, some interesting bullish pressure, all right, such that price can bounce higher, all right, this week. So like I've always said and repeated time and again, when price gets to any of these POIs, all right, I want to go to the lower time frame and look for a break of structure, break of trend line, and a movement that validates my directional bias. All right. So AUD USD, we're still altogether bullish. All right, we're still altogether bullish, and this should be a possibility. All right, and I'm looking at that zone because this is actually an imbalance candle. It ought to get filled, but if we also look at this from my point of view, it looks like we have a QML in process, all right? So I don't want to be overly optimistic. Take profit somewhere around here and then allow the price to play out. If we break above the previous high, all right, then we can scale everything all together to the top. So altogether on AUD USD, we're expecting roughly about 100 pips move, right? AUD USD. GBP AUD. GBP AUD is an interesting one. Reason being that currently it seems like GBP AUD has broken through almost every resistance along its way. All right. Okay. There's a convergence somewhere around there. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame. All right, which means that or maybe, yeah, let's work with something like this. All right, so I want to see price break above that trend line first and then come back here so that we can bounce. All right. major break of structure here. So I don't think there's any controversy regarding whether price would come lower like this. All right, this is another block. We've broken structure. We've gotten liquidity here. So price can come this way, drop, all right, and then I'm expecting that from somewhere around here, we should see that bullish movement. All right, but let me quickly confirm that. We are very correct. We're very correct. Yep. So I think it's safe to conclude or to assume that when price gets here, we'll get a serious movement. All right. So let me mark out that zone. So that's what we're expecting on GBP AUD. Price bounces to that other block, drops. Right after it drops, then it gives us that clear, the retest of this area, and then that clear movement all the way up here. All right, so that we can come back to this OB. All right, so that's my bias on GBP AUD. That's my bias on GBP AUD for anybody that cares. For the person that requested a setup on volatility 75, I don't usually do this, but I think I'm in a good mood, so maybe I'll just look at it. Okay. All right, let me see. So V75, I want to first of all see how price reacts here. All right, price gets here, then I can be able to say, all right, this is what price is going to do. But I think that V75, let me see. Yeah, from the longer perspective or from the longer term view, all right, I think V75 might be bullish. All right, possibly. Okay, and that's because all of this movement that you're seeing right now is already almost completely exhausted. All right, it's almost completely exhausted at the moment. So we just want to see what will be the cause. All right, we want to see a movement that will be the reason why we bounce from this trend line and retrace our steps all the way back to the top. All right, from what we've seen around here, it hasn't got into that block yet. So that's basically what we're waiting for, right, from the daily point of view. So 4 hours time frame, let's see what will be the factor that would bounce us back to the top. All right, so that's V75 for the person that asked. All right, so the last one we're going to look at is, okay, all right, I think somebody asked after that. OP USDT, all these crypto traders and their problems. Okay, let me clear this. Okay, OP USDT. Okay, so and generally for crypto traders, like I said, if we observe continued weakness in the dollar, like I mentioned when we talked about the correlation in the beginning, all right? If we observe continued weakness in the dollar, it means that investors will start looking for more other markets that they can put their money into, all right, to quickly multiply it and quickly make to quickly get interest, all right. So you can expect some pump in the crypto markets, all right. But if that is not the case, then definitely, the bearish market on the crypto space is going to continue, all right. And this OP USDT just might come all the way down to this second area that I marked out here, all right. So having said that, we just want to see what that gives us. AUDJPY is the last commodity we'll be looking at tonight. Also a very interesting commodity. Tapped into that order block that we drew from the weekly time frame some weeks ago. All right, and currently we are at this point. So something along this line would do. All right, AUDJPY, because that also looks very much like this. All right, and that would mean that we have reason to see the bounce could also start from maybe this block. All right, could maybe start from this block and then bounce back here, and then before we see the major drop. All right, so that is AUDJPY for me. All right, I'm still very bearish on AUDJPY because, as you can see from the daily time frame, this was just the completion of the first bearish candle, right, or the first rejection from this other block, right, and then we can there's still so much ground to cover. All right, so one step at a time, we'll see how all of this unfolds during the course of the trading week. All right, and then we can be able to know what to expect. So I think I have more reason to believe that we should see a reaction from here. Good. Very good. All right, so I think that's as far as we can go for tonight. It's been one solid hour of reviewing the market together with you guys, and it's been an absolute pleasure. I want to say a big thank you to everybody that has made out time to join me tonight. My name remains Adetola Freeman, and I am the lead instructor at EasyFX Academy. I'm a trader, I'm an analyst, I'm a training mentor, and I am also a portfolio manager and a whole lot of other things. I'm a programmer, but this is not an introduction to me. I just want to use this to say a big thank you to you guys for sticking with me. All right, Mr. Tim, it's good to see you. Skittles, and virtually everybody else, Miss Ruby, Mr. Bukumi, it's good to see you guys. Thank you so much for joining today, and God bless you. I wish you all a very profitable trading week and have a very peaceful trading week as well. God bless you. Enjoy your week. Bye-bye.